right, guys, we're going to wait for everyone to get connected here. You always wonder if this weird time where Facebook is thinking about connecting us, whether or not we're actually connected. So we're just going to give everybody a couple seconds here to get on the program, let their notifications all go ding, 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 and let everybody come on in to the After Schrock. We didn't name the After Schrock. You guys did. So I had to explain that to somebody the other day. I said, the After Schrock, and he was like, do you have like a little earthquake icon or something that comes up? I'm like, no, it's nothing like that. It's just that was what one of the listeners named it, the After Schrock. That's what it was. So welcome into the After Schrock, guys. Good to have you with us today. Thanks for joining us on the program. I really appreciate it. It was a crazy, crazy week this week. Des Moines actually started taking off, like really taking off. It was, when I say it wasn't as busy as we had hoped, I mean, for what we're spending, I mean, maybe I had some unrealistic expectations of being completely slammed on day one, but we weren't, and that was like, okay, but we weren't dead either. And I always told the guys, there's three scenarios here. We're going to hear crickets when we open, which is bad. We're going to be absolutely destroyed when we're open and have trouble keeping up. That's bad. Good, but bad. Or the likely scenario is somewhere in the spectrum in the middle. And the spectrum in the middle for the first week was a little bit on the lower side, and then all of a sudden it was like, boop, 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 and then all of a sudden Logan's like, and I might have the Rona. We're like, no, come on, man, really? He doesn't. He tested, he got negative on his test, which is good. But he's got the flu, and we're like, he's wearing the masks, he's doing what he's supposed to do, he's using the sanitizers, and he got the flu. So, yeah, I'll let you draw your conclusions from that. But anyway, welcome into the After Schrock. It's been a crazy week, a week where the Des Moines Service Center has really started taking off, and it's catching the attention not only of consumers, obviously in Des Moines, people are really happy to have the Service Center there, but it's also capturing the interest of potential investors in Schrock. And it's always weird when you talk to these guys because there's a million things that we need to do. Like before let's say the magic money fairy came over and dropped a big fat bag of money and said, open up 15 locations. And we said, wonderful, let's do it. There are some systems that we have that just aren't ready yet. And there are other systems that we have that are extremely mature, that are well beyond what our competitors would have. And so the idea is, do you wait for perfection? Do you wait for everything to be ready and then do you go, or do you try to time it? Do you say, okay, let's take the big bag of money and let's get everything started, and while that's brewing, because it takes time to do things, we can be fixing things on this end with the hope that it all comes together at the end. And so I had a meeting with a guy. His name was Eric. He was a really good guy, just a genuinely nice guy. This week, I went to a seminar that they talk about. Basically, it's a seminar for people who want to sell their business, and I don't want to sell my business. I have no interest in selling my business. I was at the seminar because I want to grow my business, and I thought, number one, being in this seminar will teach me some things that are good to know, and number two, I'm going to be in the same room as people who have access to people who have a lot of money. So if I wanted to rapidly expand, this might be a good group of people to at least spend some time with today. And so some time at the conference became a 3-hour meeting the next day, became not an offer. I'm not going to go so far as to say an offer, but the desire to explore possibilities, which was really exciting. I was super excited, and then I was super like, wait a minute. And then I was like, oh, golly, what are we doing? I mean, then I'm like, this is insane. Then I'm like, this isn't possible. This isn't going to happen. And I've come full circle now to be like, okay, there's stuff we need to fix. And there's stuff that we need to fix so we can be ready for that kind of a level of expansion. Because I know that Carolyn wants her Round Rock Schrock Innovation Service Center. And I know that you want your Grand Island Schrock Innovation Service Center. And we're already on the air on KMBZ in Kansas City. That's 98.1, by the way, not the AM side of the dial. That was the problem the listener had last week, as we were not on the air on the AM side. We're on the air on the FM side. So it's 98.1 FM. But we're going to be on the air there now for it's our second month. We're softening the ground there. We know we can put at least 3 service centers in Kansas City, at least 2 in Des Moines. Lincoln could use another service center at some point. Omaha's pretty well covered. Grand Island wants one. Carolyn wants one in Round Rock. Let me think. Who else? Want one in Florida in the Villages. We've had a request for one there. Um, it's kind of nuts, guys. Yeah. So anyway, had all these meetings, trying to figure out how we make all this happen, and my head was just swimming, just absolutely swimming. And then, we had a employee. Nate was his last day in Lincoln. He's moving off to become a network administrator. A lot of times with Schrock employees, we hire really good, solid people. It's something when you have a guy come over to fix your driveway, and to give you a quote on a driveway, like a mud jacking thing, and he realizes that you own Schrock Innovations. And he was talking to my wife, and he was like, I've been to your service centers. How do you find those people? How do you find those people that are just nice people that don't make me feel like garbage when I talk to them, but they're just good people, and they'll explain things and they're fair about everything? And how do you find those people? Because I need to do that for my business. Because it's a similar problem. He's dealing with people who work with concrete, not always the most sociable people, right? And we're dealing with computers all day long, and we know how the stereotypes go. Not always the most sociable people. So anyway, we talked a little bit about that, and it was kind of fun. But the landscape for computer repair, especially locally, it continues to, I don't want to say contract, because there's been a huge a COVID bulge. Like you see like those pictures of snakes when they eat like a rodent, and there's a big bulge in their stomach. That's what COVID looks like in the tech industry. Everybody went home and then said, oh, I don't have a webcam. Oh, I don't have 14 monitors. Oh, I don't have a wireless keyboard and mouse. And then they went, boom, and now they're fat. So it's not really a contraction, but the thing that's interesting to me is in the middle of that bulge, some businesses have failed. So I was talking about Extreme PCs in Lincoln. They are out of business. They're literally ghosting their customers, from what I've been told. Like, people can't call. I sent him a message. I sent a message in saying, "Hey, I'm interested. Let me help you. Let me. I'd like to buy your list. I would like to service your customers' warranties. Tell me who they are. We can do an earn out. Like, I know it's never pleasant when things end, but here's a way for me to generate some revenue for you and your family, and here's a way for us to take care of your customers, and here's a way for Schrock to gain a nice list of new people that have really high-end computers that are going to want to take care of them." It's a win for everybody, right? Never heard back. So now we're just moving forward without him, saying on the radio, if you have one of their computers, we will help you. Come on in. We have a page up online now that we're working, and Kara's working on getting that to rank on Google, so that when people search for them, they find us. It's not something we would normally do to a competitor that's in business. It's typically considered a pretty low-class thing to do to somebody who's in business. We've had competitors do that to us before, reserve a misspelling or a typo of our domain name, and then try to, hey, look, we're as good as Schrock, kind of thing. But anyway, so we had that going on. So that was Extreme PCs in Lincoln is gone. I had another meeting with another competitor in Lincoln who is... I don't want to say he's looking to exit. There's no urgency here. He's not losing money. He definitely deals a lot on the used computer side of things, not so much on the new computer side. So there's not a lot of synergy there between Schrock and his company, because we don't sell refurbished computers. In fact, we actively campaign against the sale of refurbished computers. It is a service nightmare. It is complete. You cannot be a high service leader and offer refurbished equipment. You just can't do it. It is not compatible. People who buy refurbished equipment are looking for super special deals, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just bought my son a refurbished Xbox One X, right? So I don't have a problem saving money on a refurbished thing, but I understand when I buy a refurbished thing that it doesn't have a warranty that's going to go on forever. For whatever reason, computer users don't get that. And then when something goes wrong, you give a 90-day warranty. Something goes wrong on the 110th day, and I paid good money for this computer. You're like, well, you paid half as much good money as somebody who bought a new one and got a 1-year warranty. So I'm sorry. Yeah, that doesn't go. You can't be a high service leader and say that. It just doesn't work. We tried. There was a computer repair shop here in town. Very similar situation. It was called ARN Networks, and ARN was failing. They actually paid us $7,000 to take ARN from them. And so when we to get out of the leases and everything else. So we got ARN, and we put some lipstick on it. We fresh coat of paint on the walls. undid some of the ugly stuff, made some stuff prettier than it was. Not as good as Schrock, but prettier. And it was a refurbished computer store, right? That's what we were going to try to do. So we'd have the high end with Schrock, and the idea was we'd have the refurbished market with ARN. But then people caught wind that I owned both of them. And then they thought, well, Thor believes in good service. We know this because we hear his radio show. So I'm just going to take my ARN computer over to this Schrock location here. And when Schrock is like, yeah, I don't have any purchase record as you as a customer. Well, yeah, I bought it at ARN. Well, then you need to take it to ARN. Well, Schrock owns both of them. What difference does it make? Makes a big difference, because when you sell refurbished computers, you don't hire great technicians. You hire mediocre technicians that can masquerade as great technicians. When you're a service leader, you got to have the best guys. ARN didn't have to have the best guys. And so we've tried this before, where we try to masquerade in both worlds at the same time. Remember when Garth Brooks tried to be a rock and roll singer? And it just didn't work, because everybody knew who Garth Brooks was. And they said, you, sir, are not a rock and roll singer. You're a country guy. It just didn't work. He tried to invent a new persona, like a fake name, and he had a whole backstory and everything. It was all fake. Yeah. It doesn't work. And so we just said, you know what? We've learned our lesson there. We rolled up ARN. We moved everybody from ARN into Schrock. We offered them Schrock warranties and Schrock levels of service. We basically just absorbed it and called it good. But this other guy in Lincoln doesn't want to do that. He wants us to step into his building. We would be in proximity to a competitor, very, very close to another competitor that we have some history with. So that would be an advantage. It'd be nice to be an option right in front of his doorstep. But yeah, I don't think it's a good fit. I don't think there's a way for us to say, Schrock can step in and absorb this business. So anyway, it's weird. There's a lot of M&A activity around IT right now, merger and acquisition activity around IT. Where on one hand, we've got smaller competitors coming to us. Had one in Bellevue about 2-3 months ago, like right after COVID hit, come to me and say, literally, my business is for sale. He had it listed with a business broker, the whole bit. He wanted a little more money for it than I would have paid for it. We didn't move on it. I did offer him an earn out and said we'd be willing to step in if it was something where he said he had to exit for health issues, right? So if you have a health issue that's preventing you from working, you need to focus on your health issue and you need to get better. So if there's something that I can do, we offered him access to Secure Updater to generate some extra revenue. We offered him access to Drive Advisor for free so that he can monitor his customers' hard drives, so that if something goes bad, he could spend less time trying to he could basically save time. Because he had some genuine health issues going on. And he was a good guy. We've hired employees that have worked for him before, and every single one of them told me that he was a good guy. Just a genuinely nice person. So anyway, it's weird. It's weird that the coronavirus, you think from IT perspective, would have ballooned that belly up for IT, but it didn't have that effect all the way around for every company, it looks like. So anyway, that is your merger and acquisitions report all the way around. We got little fish that want us to eat them, and then we got big fish that are interested, potentially soft, maybe, schmaybe kind of interest in helping Schrock grow radically more rapidly than we are growing now. I'm not sure we're ready for that. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. The other day, my wife just basically was like, you need to really enjoy your family more when you're around your family and not be so distracted by work. And I thought about what she said, and I'm like, she's right. She's really right. Part of that, though, is wearing a lot of hats, right? Like, I do a lot of different things what would my job be like if I just focused on the radio show only? We'd have green screens and studio lights and pre-cut segments and little boxes that pop up with stories, and we'd have like 2 hours or 3 hours to do it. It would, oh my God, we'd have a producer. I mean, it would just be, boo. So then, of course, I'm sitting in my car outside the studio this morning, and I'm thinking about all that, and I'm like, wow, that would be great. That'd be so much fun. And then I thought to myself, then why am I not doing it now? Why? Why don't I have that now? Why do I have to wait for that? Isn't that something I can do now? And that's the trap. So then I start thinking about this stuff, and then when I'm like home with my family and supposed to be not thinking about stuff, I'm daydreaming about a new studio that I could put together and how I could make that work and how we could, cut this corner here, trim that off there to do it all scrappy style without a lot of money because I don't have a huge budget for it, and I need to add a person, but maybe they could also wear a second hat. Maybe they could be like a technician part-time and a producer on the weekends, and then that's when I just add one more thing. And I don't want to add one more thing. I want to take what we're doing and I want to do it better than we're doing it. But that takes resources, and that takes people, and it takes skill sets. And those people and skill sets are not cheap, regardless of what you might believe from the unemployment scenario. They are not cheap, and the studio work is not cheap either. But it would be something to behold, wouldn't it? All right, so let's jump into these questions here real quick and see what everybody's got. Alrighty. Mitch is back. Welcome back, Mitch. Thanks for coming back. Hey, Winston, thank you for the audio check earlier. I appreciate it. I did notice, too, that the callers were super duper hot. They were hot in my ears. And the board feed that you guys hear on Facebook for the radio show comes through the headphone jack. It's the same feed that I get in my ears. And the callers were piped up really loud. And so we can turn the callers down a little bit, but that solves the amplitude or the volume. It doesn't, when they sound hot, like when they're like, welcome to the show, glad to be here. That's because they're swallowing their microphone, or they have me on speakerphone while they're calling in. So those are the two reasons that happens. But there's nothing we can do about that. That's just call audio. But basically the volume we can handle. So the last guy was like super loud, but we were having phone problems, so she had everything turned all the way up while she was hitting all the buttons and trying to figure out why the phones weren't working. And then all of a sudden when they did work, it was like, hello, baby! Wow, turn him down. He's really loud. Owie, that hurts. All right, sound is louder. Sound is louder because I'm on a different microphone. So basically, last week, we have a Goldilocks thing going on. This microphone is new last week. So they replaced the microphone. This arm is new for the microphone. As you can see here, it's got new springs in it. Woo! It stays. Now it stays. Did you see during the show when I was trying? All I wanted to do was adjust it right here. That's all I wanted to do, right? Nope, not there. Here. Nope, not there. So it was like, so it's got new springs. It's brand new. Everything looks great. But the first week we had it, everything was too hot. It sounded like I was swallowing the microphone. The second week, this week, I was a little too quiet. I turned it down just a little too far. Part of that's because when I'm doing my sound checks, the audio that's coming through the jack is a church service. And so when you have a church service, like the fire and the brimstone, it's like, and then Jesus said to all the people, give unto Caesar, It's like, whoa! It's like quiet and loud and quiet and loud. So if I do my audio tune when he's being quiet, it's when I talk, it's like someone's shouting. And if I do it when it's fire and brimstone, when I talk, it sounds really quiet. So it's a Goldilocks thing. We're figuring it out. I think next week will be perfect. So I apologize that the callers were louder than they should have been, but I apparently was quieter, which is the first time I've ever been accused of that in my life. All right, made it having coffee and kicking back. Good to have you, Roger. Okay, sound level is much better. Okay, if the sound was that bad, y'all need to say something. Like, I heard one guy say the sound is a little quiet, and I have to turn my phone all the way up. Okay, that happens, Depends on your phone, depends on your speaker, depends on what you consider turned all the way up, depends if you're on noise-limiting headphones or not. But if a lot of people tell me the sound is bad, then I'm like, oh, okay, the sound is bad, and I'll go through it. All right, Schrockville. I have my own town now. That's cool. All right, morning from Grand Island. After Schrock is my standard prep for getting ready for church. Well, thank you for joining us, Mark. I appreciate it. Coffee and me from Deborah. Schrockville. We're all Schrockettes. Oh, my gosh. This... When did Schrocking become a verb? It's like Googling now. All right. What's the best way to share a large video file with family? I also want them to be able to download the file. Something like your Dropbox is perfect. OneDrive tends to work. I had a little trouble with OneDrive this week, but Dropbox is perfect. That's what I used instead. Also, you can use what's called a Google Drive, where you can. A lot of people don't realize you can. When you use Google Docs and everything, it saves them in like a little. Imagine a cloud of hard drives floating around up there, and it saves all your documents in there. You can actually upload other files to that drive too, and then send links to people as well. You have limited storage though, so for video files, if they're really, really big, it might be too big. You might have to buy some storage. We pay like $100 a month to Dropbox to get some extra storage. It's not expensive to do for sure. All right. Have you tried the new flight simulator? Lee, I have not. Typically, I don't get a whole lot of time to play video games, not like I used to. Although I have to admit, all the stress of opening a new service center and everything, I did kind of regress a little bit, and I kind of got hooked on Call of Duty again. And it took me probably a good 2 weeks to really get back where I'm at. And I'm not by any means like a Call of Duty super freak or anything. I'm not going to be an esports team guy or anything. My son could probably kick my butt. But then the other day, I'm like, darn it! And he's like, what's wrong, Dad? And I'm like, I just lost a nine-person kill streak because my computer locked up. Yes, it happens to me too, guys. Now, granted, I had monitors and service centers up because even when I'm playing, I'm working, right? So I'm like, okay, and it locked up. I pushed it too hard. Yes, I pushed my 2019 holiday special too hard, which is why I'm upgrading the memory to 64 gigs this week, upgrading the power supply to 1600 watts to power everything that's going through it. It's a beast of a computer. But it's a holiday special, so I can do that. So anyway, it locks up, and he's like, 9 kill streak, and I was pretty proud of that. That's hard to do, right? So, and he was like, my son's like, I've had as high as 20. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't play it 14 hours a day, son. Like, I'm proud of my 9-person streak. You just let me be proud of it. Leave me alone, you big bully. Kids, tell you what. So no, I haven't had a chance, Lee, to try the new flight simulator yet. Love to though. Let me know if you have a copy. All right. Wanted to give a thank you to Jacob at Papillion, who came out to the house this week and was able to get my new printer when it would not go wireless hooked up to the router. That's awesome, Joe. Thank you for taking the time to let me know about that. Having the guys do great on-site work is really important right now. The number of on-sites that we've done actually have dropped way down, and there are a very narrow band of things that it's just more convenient to do in an on-site. So, for example, a wireless printer hookup. We can get on the Schrock desk and we can try to do it, but the problem with what if we need to reboot your router? Well, then we lose our Schrock desk connection. What if we have to be on the printer and selecting menu options with the buttons? We can't do that. So it's a lot more convenient to have the person in the room basically doing the install and on-site. So I'm really glad that Jacob was able to take care of you and did a good job there for you as well. Also, Jacob is one of our newest technicians. He's a junior technician, one of our newest guys, a really, really solid person, and really coming along quickly in technical skills, much more quickly than we expected. Very much responds very well to constructive criticism, very much like, yes, sir, I'll get that fixed right away. Yep, let's do it right. And we love that. We love that about Jacob. He's awesome. All righty. Sioux Falls. Okay, so there's a new request. Sioux Falls, Sioux City. See, I mean, this is nuts. So I mean, literally now, if the Magic Money Fairy dropped a giant bag of money on the table, now we have a service center in Round Rock, Texas, with customers. We have a service center. I saw somebody during the show in Montana was saying checking in from Montana. We won't count him yet because he hasn't actually asked for a service center in Montana. So far we have the Villages in Florida. We've got Sioux City and Sioux Falls. We've got Round Rock. That's 4. Kansas City will go probably a 3. There's going to be another one in Des Moines at some point. Probably another one in Lincoln. So now we're at 8. Can you imagine 8 new service centers? Guys, just the equipment to build and open 8 service centers, we're talking like $2.7 million. Like that's how expensive it is to do it right. You can do it for less, not if you want to do it right. Believe me, in Des Moines, It's no coincidence that all those bench monitors are high quality Westinghouse monitors. Funny story there. So Westinghouse monitors are junk, right? They're awful, but they're cheap, right? They're like $10 a monitor cheaper than the Acer monitors that we usually sell. So $10 a monitor is, if you're buying one monitor, you're not going to sacrifice quality for $10. But if you're me and you're buying 40 monitors to put on a service center, just for tech work now. This is not for even employees to sit and work at. They got the nice Acer ones at the front desks and the tech stations and everything. These are just the ones on the wall that we hook customers' computers up to diagnose and figure out what's going on. So 40 monitors, $10 a piece saves you $4,000, right? There's no need to spend a ton of money doing something that doesn't need to be done. So let's go ahead and get the cheap monitors. So the monitors show up in the Papillion Service Center because we couldn't ship anything straight to Des Moines because we didn't have a person there. So we had to ship it to Papillion and then truck it down to Des Moines when we send our transfers down. So monitors, this is right in the middle of COVID. Monitors are really hard to get. Everybody wants more of them. We're having trouble keeping them in stock. We're having trouble getting replacements when we sell out. Just craziness. So all of a sudden, beep, 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 UPS truck backs on up and drops like 40 Westinghouse 23-inch monitors on us. Ryan looks at me. Ryan's a senior technician in Papillion. And he's like, I have a lot of respect for you, Thor, but I can't do that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, Thor, Westinghouse, really? How far have we fallen? I know it's COVID, but... And, in that moment, it was hilarious because he thought I wanted to sell those to customers, which would never do. Number two, I was really proud of that kid. Do you know how much guts it took? He had just been promoted to a senior technician about 2 weeks before that. Do you know how much guts it took for him to come to the owner of the company and say the quality of the gear you're ordering is substandard and I'm really not comfortable selling that to customers? Yes, that's the guy we want. That is the guy that we want working for us, making sure that everyone's getting exactly what they're supposed to get, how they're supposed to get it, at the quality levels they're supposed to get it at. So then I explained to him that they're just the tech monitors for the wall. Then he was really angry because, you see, he has 19-inch Acer monitors that only have VGA connections because they're like so old. And he was like, why is it that Des Moines gets all the pretty stuff and then all the people funding Des Moines get the garbage? Why is that? And so, because these monitors have like HDMI hookups and all kinds of stuff, and yeah, he was like, so anyway, but then it came back to bite me because we went to go put the monitors on the wall in Des Moines, right? So we take all the bases off the monitors because we don't need the bases because we got wall mounts, and we got the little skinny ones. They're like this thick, like an inch. And so, because we don't need to pitch it or twist it or anything like that, we just want it to hang on the wall, flat, like a picture frame. The problem was Westinghouse, in their infinite wisdom, built a monitor that you can put a VESA mount on and mount it to the wall like that, but the hookups for the monitor come straight out the back. So if this is the wall and this is the back of my monitor and I want to mount them this close together, I can't have a plug and a cord sticking out 3 inches out of the back. There's no room for that. So then we had to go buy all these spacers and like these long tubes basically to screw them in and create space for the cords. Now when we put the keyboards behind the monitor, which is where we usually keep them when they're not in use, they fall out because there's nothing there to hold them up. I mean, it was just like, so I don't know if I actually spent more on spacers than $10 a monitor. I don't know if I actually saved any money in the end, trying to save money, but anyway, it's good to know that I've got staff that aren't going to just blindly serve up whatever they're told to do. They're going to question it. They're going to say, is this really the best thing we can do, or can't we do better, or could we do better? And then you usually don't have to ask those questions, but it's good to know they're willing to throw a call out on me when Thor brings in the high-quality Westinghouse monitors. Please let other people have a choice other than the Geek Squad. Oh, yeah, I mean, I have mixed feelings about the Geek Squad. I like them because we get a lot of business from them. I mean, I'm not saying that to be cheeky, but we do. We have a lot of customers that get referred to us from Geek Squad because the guys at Geek Squad are technicians just like any other tech, right? Some of them are more skilled than others. Some of them are really skilled. We've hired some guys from Geek Squad before. And some of them not so much. Some of the guys we've hired from Geek Squad haven't lasted very long. So it's one of those things where they're told what they are allowed to fix and what they're not allowed to fix. They're told they have to sell Westinghouse monitors, and they can't say anything about it. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know at what point Schrock is a high service provider, and it's hard to be a high service provider and a low cost leader at the same time. Those two positions are usually not compatible, because there's always somebody willing to do the job half as well for half the price, right? So if you play that lower common denominator, you're eventually going to end up delivering a garbage service and have no brand value whatsoever. So Schrock, we want to be on the other end of that spectrum. We want to be the high quality, high service provider that you know that you can count on. That doesn't mean we want to be, the Borsheims. We don't need to be the most expensive possible, option. But on the other hand, we haven't raised any of our prices, guys. We haven't raised our prices since 2008. So in this meeting I went to, this is going to be incredibly popular. But you'll see what I'm saying here, and because nobody wants to see the prices of anything go up. But if you've been looking around lately, we just got a quote to mudjack our driveway that was $2,000 for 1 square. And yeah, he was going to seal it and do some stuff too. I'm not saying it was just. I'm going to get calls from like every mudjacking guy on planet now. There was some other stuff there, but $2,000. We got a quote 3 years ago for sprinklers from Millard Sprinkler. We had them re-up the quote recently. It went up $1,500 in 2 years. Did the cost of sprinklers go up that much? What's going on? Yet, Schrock's prices haven't gone up since 2008. That means we've been 12 years without a price increase. So our costs have definitely gone up over 12 years, but we just haven't kept up with it because honestly, in our industry, at $110 an hour, my position is if I have competitors charging $75 an hour and they're not busy, right? So they don't have systems like we do. So if they have 1 or 2 customers, they can put on a show that looks as good as the Schrock show. They can. But if they get 10 or 12 customers, the wheels fall off the bus. And then so that creates a natural limitation for them where the first couple get great service and then 8 have terrible service and then they come back to Schrock. And so you can see how that fluctuates, whereas our goal is to have the same service every time, all the time, and charging a fair price for it. So the example they gave in this meeting was, let's say you're getting a haircut. And you can follow along with me on this one. You're getting a haircut and you're willing to pay, let's say you pay $25. This is a guy's haircut, not the ladies, okay? Guys will pay $25 for a haircut. If your if your barber told you that they needed you to pay $26 for the haircut, would you walk? Would you go find another barber? No guy's going to do that for $1. You tip more than that anyway. Okay, what about 27? 28? Probably not. 30? I'd start to ask, I probably would pay it. 35? Oh wow, now we're getting up there. The point is, let's say that you were charging 25 and most guys would go up to 30 pretty comfortably, and that barber cuts 10 people's hair a day. He is leaving $50 a day of profit dollars on the table that he could turn around and invest in the expansion of a service center in Round Rock or Sioux Falls or Grand Island. There's a lot of stuff there, right? Nobody wants to see the prices go up. But if the customers are willing to pay the price, shouldn't the price be higher? And so, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't feel like raising our prices is the answer right now because, like I said, there's so many other places that you can go that you get varying levels of service. But the thing is a lot of people make that initial decision based on the price per hour. Even with the free hour of labor coupon for new customers, the next question we always get asked is, okay, if I need more labor, what's the hour cost? And if I came back and said, $140, do you know that Best Buy charges $150 an hour for labor? $150. Do you know that Best Buy charges it's $99? No, it's $125 for a maintenance checkup. And this was pre-COVID, so I haven't checked since then. $125 for a maintenance checkup that we sell every day for $90 and have on special right now for $50. When did we become the low-cost leader, right? Interesting. So anyway, it just blows my mind. The cost of everything is going up, and we're trying to keep our lid on it. Cost of our laptops has gone up, average of $50 to $75 a unit. So we weren't making a lot on the laptops before. Now we're making virtually nothing. If you walk in and buy a laptop and walk out, it's a net wash transaction for us. Of course, we hope that you would purchase services along with it, like antivirus software and things like that. But anyway, now I'm getting down in the weeds. So anyway, it's just an interesting dynamic to have all of these different competing things happening around you. And I have customers that want our service centers in other places. And I have consultants that are telling me you're undercharging for what you do, Thor. And I know you love having your warranty guarantee thing, but you're leaving a ton of money on the table. And you love not raising your prices, but you're leaving a ton of money on the table. And you love building the relationship with the customer, but what you're doing is you're giving too much, and you can build that same relationship and give a little bit less. And I don't know about you guys, and those of you who are married, I have never had a relationship at any point in my life where someone has said to me, Thor, you could give just a little bit less and we would be just fine. I've never had that happen. So anyway, I don't want to lose the relationships I have with you guys. So I think we're just going to keep doing what we're doing and move forward. I'm sure there'll be things change, prices change. At some point, inflation is going to catch up with us and we're going to have to do something, but not today. Not today. All right. Carolyn. Oh, Carolyn from Round Rock. Good morning from Round Rock, Texas. Parker and Summer were great in helping me this week. Super nice and extremely competent. Yes, I do want you to expand in Round Rock, Texas. All right. Listen to the lovely Kimberly. Order your life for success. God, family, business. You're absolutely right, Carolyn. And I just need more reminders than the average bear. I don't know. Maybe that's not the average bear. I don't know. But my mind drifts a lot, and then when it drifts, it drifts toward whatever I'm not doing right now. So here I am doing a show, and I'm thinking about my family, and then when I'm home with my family, I'm thinking about work. I don't know. Maybe they have a pill for that. I don't know. It's called sleep. All right, Lake of the Ozarks just had a shootout. Regular what? Oh. Ronald, you got to be careful in these days, man. Lake of the Ozarks just had a shootout. I'm like, oh gosh, Antifa, regular boat got up to 202 miles an hour on the 3/4 mile track. RC boat got to 125. So yeah, it was a race. Okay, that's fun times. Shootout, bad. Race, good. Yay. All right, what is Kimberly's favorite VHS conversion place? I can't remember. And Kimberly reprised, Richard, I have used Legacy Box in the past with good results, and we're getting ready to convert all of my grandma's videos in a few different places, and we'll be updating the show soon. Ooh, that was a fun show. I think that was Thanksgiving of last year, lovely Kimberly, so that could be a good Thanksgiving follow-up if you wanted to. As long as there's enough time between Thanksgiving and Christmas to actually put in the order. I think you put in the order and they send you a box, and then you fill the box and send the box in. So there's nothing like giving somebody an empty box for Christmas, right? It's a COVID Christmas. Yay. All righty. Let's see. Pierre, South Dakota. Really? Deborah, Pierre, what? Educate me. I don't know anything about Pierre, South Dakota. How many people are there? How would you describe the community? Kim, I'm all about the Florida location. Yeah, who else is getting ready for the migraine this week? Yay! The high. What was the high on Tuesday? Is 42 degrees. The high. What the heck? We're all going to think we have the Rona because we all have such bad sinus issues on that day. Aberdeen, South Dakota could use a good service center. Never mind a company car. Get out the Learjet. I don't know. My wife doesn't like small jets and small planes. She thinks they're going to crash, and she doesn't like them. I mean, I'm telling you, we went down to Union, Nebraska because we wanted to pick up some apples, right? So we pull into the Union parking lot, and they have a gravel parking lot, and they've made these enormous speed bumps out of gravel, right? And I'm driving an F-350. And we got the kiddos in the back, and not the back, not in the bed of the truck, but in the back seat of the crew cab. And we're driving in there, and okay, there's some speed bumps, right? And normally, with speed bumps and F-350s, you actually have a worse experience if you slow down. It's weird, but the truck does better. Not racing over them, of course, But like if you slow down to a crawl, it's like ba-boom, ba-boom, and you're like, ow, my neck. You go over them at like 5-10 miles an hour, it's like boom, boom. There we go, that's better, and you just keep going. And of course, they're just trying to slow people down in the parking lot. So I'm like, I'm going to be a good guy, and I slowed way down, and we hit those speed bumps, and literally, like, the kids in the back levitated in their car seats. We were like chalked against our seat belts. My wife was like, I was literally weightless for like a minute. That was crazy. And she doesn't do well. She doesn't like the roller coasters and stuff. She doesn't like that feeling. I love it though, right? So then we're leaving the parking lot, and I'm like, I know you guys didn't like the speed bump, so I'm going to go out this other side over here because there's 2 speed bumps over there. And then we're going up the hill, and she says, watch out, there's another one right there. And I'm like, what? And I just hit the accelerator. But boom! Oh, it was awesome. I swear the truck caught air. It was so much fun. Yeah, and then everybody threw up. My daughter in the back, she's special needs. She starts singing The Wheels on the Bus Go Up and Down. Up and down, up and down. And Lou's like, yay! And Mommy's like, oh, I don't feel so good. Oh, that was funny. All right. I wish I could offer a class on filing and using photos. I used to have an easy program, or I wish Kimberly would offer a class, Carolyn said, on filing and using photos. I used to have an easy program, but it's no more, and I feel like I'm hit and miss now. It seems like she's an expert. Kim says to Joe, don't give him ideas. I once had taught all him. Oh, you once had to talk me out of a paraglider. That's not a lie. That's not a lie. Carolyn, Kim's going to put that on her list. Let's see. I'm confident you'll expand the right way at the right pace. You know, and that's the magic, right? There's history is littered with companies that had a really good thing going and then blew it up by trying to grow too fast. One of the biggest challenges that I'm having is I met with a church in Des Moines last week because I wanted to find ways that we can give back in the. I don't like the feeling of being an interloper in a community, of being something that's we're providing a good and a service and we're taking a fair price for it, but we're not a part of the community. I want to be a part of the community without being that cheesy, like, hey, look at everything we do, guys, it's amazing. I want to actually make a difference for real people in the community, right? So I met with a church because I'm like, this is probably the best place to start. Churches are hurting right now. We talked about some ideas, things we could do. Literally the conversation went completely sideways, and we ended up talking about special tablets we could have made that all they did was open up an app to view a church service. Literally, it's like a church TV tablet for shut-ins, so they can do remote services, or the new shut-ins, which are anyone afraid of getting COVID, so that they can do remote services. Just a cheap tablet, no other options, kind of like the Remarkable concept where they made it better by having it do less. And that's a lesson a lot of people can learn. That's a lesson I'm trying to learn, is like the company, Schrock Innovations, can be a lot better than it is if I do less. I just have to bring in talent to do the things that I'm doing that can do it better than me. Sometimes that's easy. Sometimes not so much. But anyway, I want to thank you and your team in Papillion. They're the best of the best. I'm moving to South Dakota in a few months now, and I won't have to worry about maintenance. Hey, Deborah, I hope you're coming back when you go. I mean, South Dakota, I've seen those South Dakota recruiting videos, too, from the governor. She makes South Dakota look like the hot, hip, happening place to be if you are a freedom-loving American. I mean, literally, like, wow. Those are some ads. Whatever agency did those ads, I want that agency, because those ads were amazing. Yes, they're going to seal the whole driveway for $2,000, but still, $2,000 to roll some sealant on a driveway? I'm sure I'm oversimplifying it. I'm sure people say the same. What, $150 to move a few files from one computer to the other? You know, I'm sure. Cheryl and Rich checking in from Council Bluffs. Charles, I have a color wheel on my office wall. It says low price, high quality, fast service. Below it, it says you get 2. I get the other one. Makes your point well. Okay, so I can get 2. I can have either low price, high quality, or fast service. So I can have it cheap, I can have it good, I can have it fast, but I can only have 2 of those things, which means I either have to pay a lot, I have to have low quality, or I have to wait a long time. Yeah, that's true. Nobody wants to do any of those things. Pierre, South Dakota, I get a link here. Visit Pierre. Let's click on the Visit Pierre link, because you know everyone's clicking on that right now to see what's going on here. They have a COVID-19 toolkit. The Pierre Visitor's Guide, convention spaces, restaurants, attractions. It's a nice looking website. Sports and rec, some beautiful scenery there. Wow. Okay. I'm liking the Pierre. And then I scroll down and there's a chick in a shirt that says "Hi Hater." Hey haters, just kidding. If you're, this is the Pierre-dice hashtag. So people that live and work in Pierre can tag their posts with. Wow, you guys have some beautiful stuff going on there. Had no idea. Kim, next time we take the RV out, we're going to Pierre, South Dakota. Going to check it out. We'll call it a Schrock Innovation Scouting Mission. All right, last call for questions, guys, before we get rolling out of here. It's been a wide-ranging, freewheeling After Schrock, but those seem to be the best. Let's see. Maintenance checkup special. I got to mention that one more time. The maintenance checkup special is done 5 o'clock today. So if you are a person who has not had your computer in for maintenance in the past 6 months, I would recommend you pick up a certificate. It doesn't mean you have to rush in and do it right now, especially if you're concerned about coronavirus or whatnot. You can wait a little bit. You wait up to 6 months, actually. But I would encourage you to get this done now, because next week it's going to be done, and we're going to be shifting gears next week to start talking about the October update for Windows 10. I have not yet confirmed that it is actually called the October update. They do come 6 months apart, and the last one was the April update. 6 plus 4 is 10, which is October, which makes sense. But they always run a month behind, so I don't know if they're just going to now finally say, yeah, we're a month behind. Last year it was the September update. Yeah, so the versions. Last year it was 1903, and then 1909, and the next year it was the next one after that was 2004. So the version numbers 19 is the year, or 20 in the 2004, 20 is the year, and the next two numbers are the month. So 1903 was March of 19, 1909 was September of 19. So if they stick to a solid 6 month schedule, it would be March and September of 20. But they pushed it to April in 20, and it became the 2004 update that actually pushed to May. So it could be 6 months would be October. So it could come as early as this month. It could come as late as November. We don't know, which is why we're going to start talking about Safe Upgrade and getting everyone set up with their licenses for it. So please make sure that that you're tuned in next week for the show. It's going to be a really good program to listen to. Deborah says, my daughter and her husband have a business, and we're moving there now. Yeah, it looks beautiful, Deborah. It looks really beautiful. Keep in mind, Deborah, that you can still use our virtual services even if you're distant. We can still handle endpoint, secure updater. We can do safe upgrade for you still. And, of course, the Schrock Desk. I would strongly suggest you become a Schrock Desk subscriber. It's $30 a month for unlimited support. So when you get to South Dakota and you're setting everything up in your Paradise, I love that. That's brilliant. When you're setting everything up in Paradise and you can't get your wireless printer to work, let us help you. When you can't get something else to work, let us help you. That's what we're there for. Even when you're distant, we can be close. So it's the new digital world we live in, right? So anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. I got to get rolling because, oh wait, hold on a second. We got one more comment from the lovely Kimberly. They're going to lift part of our driveway, caulk it, and seal. She's got a whole conversation going on. We're just having one of those home ownership is expensive kind of years. Yeah, we are. We thought, let's do carpet. And then we're like, holy mamma jamma, carpet is expensive. Then we said, we should do the kitchen. The cabinets are looking a little worn. We got the laminate cabinets are all peeling. It's time to go. We've got them replaced and refinished and done. We've done everything we can do with them. It's time. Kitchen is a what? And then sprinklers are how much? And then the driveway is what? And we're adding up all these numbers, and we're like, let's prioritize. The driveway is covered in snow 3/4 of the year. So, we don't have to do that one. We can put that up. And the sprinklers, we're almost at winter now, right? So what? The grass is going to die anyway. We can wait till next year on the sprinklers. So kitchen and carpet. And, yeah, that's just fun times. Let's take your whole house apart and do all the carpet in one shot. That's going to be awesome. All right, guys, I got to roll. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time to be here on the program with us. It means a lot to me. And all your comments and thoughts mean a lot to us as well. My family as well as our larger Schrock family. The guys all watch the program too, so when you give them compliments, like with Parker and stuff, they watch the program so they know what's going on, and they see the comments too. So they genuinely appreciate it. Sometimes they're a little modest and they don't say anything because they're a little like, I don't know how to handle the praise, but no, they do appreciate it, and I appreciate it. So please remember to like and share the show. It helps us spread the word about Schrock, especially in those areas where we don't have service centers right now. Now I can actually say, if you scream loud enough, we'll give you a service center. We've done it in Des Moines, and guys, I have to tell you, I don't talk a whole lot about numbers because, obviously we have to keep that kind of quiet because, there are competitors and things like that. But the numbers started slow, but the ramp rate that we're seeing right now, it's like it was a month delay in the marketing. Like it took a month for everybody to figure it out. One of the most impactful lines from that meeting I had, that business meeting, they said, if you have a business that you've taken 20 years to build the reputation of, how long do you think it takes to build a 20-year reputation if you have all the resources at your disposal that you possibly could imagine? And the answer is 14 months. With enough marketing, you can build a 20-year reputation in a community in 14 months. Wow. So yeah, we're trying to do that in Des Moines, and it's working, and it's really working. So the ramp rate, Des Moines last Saturday was the most productive Schrock Innovation Service Center that day of all of them. It was amazing to see. So it's working. You guys are coming out and supporting the service center, which is great, and you're getting some great deals and some great value there too. Hopefully outstanding service as well. But this is the blueprint. This is the test. If this works well, we can scale Schrock. We can scale us outside of our immediate service area. That's why we have the radio show in Kansas City right now. We're seeding the ground so that once we know Des Moines has a year, 18 months under its belt, and everything is going well, we know it's going to work, and we've recouped some of that investment, honestly. Since we're bootstrapping this, we're doing this with our own money, at that point we can look at another service center. And that's why the investment guys wanted to meet with us, is because they said, well, you're bootstrapping it right now. Imagine if you didn't have to do that. And I said, well, that would be a great dream, but it would also be really, really, really scary too. Because I don't want to lose who we are in a rush for epic growth. I don't want to do that. So we need a training system, for example. We need to, aside from Parker's gut feeling about guys when he hires them, we need to find out exactly how Parker finds really, really good guys to work for us and gals. How does he do that? Because we need to do that every time. And then we have to have a training system. How does Parker actually train these people to do things so well? We should probably have a system for that rather than just Parker's gut feeling, right? Those are the kind of things that we don't have that we really would need to have. Otherwise, scaling is never a great idea. All right, guys, got to roll. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you all again next weekend. Have a great day and a great weekend. Great holiday weekend.